What's up, YouTube? My name is Mike Huddy with Clover Trading, and today we're going to talk about how I became a millionaire before the age of 26. If you like this type of content or it inspires you, make sure to give us a follow, like the video, comment, and stay tuned for the next piece of content. The first thing you have to know about me is I graduated high school with a 2.6 GPA. Yes, that means all C's and all D's. All of my teachers considered me a failure.
You're trash, Mike.
I was the kid in the back of the class, sleeping, not doing my homework or whatever I didn't get done in class, and just didn't get done. I really did not respect school. That had nothing to do with my future. I was able to break out of the mold of this failure that my teachers considered me to be. When I graduated high school, I got rejected from most colleges except for Northridge. Shout out Northridge. I didn't want to go to Northridge, so I didn't actually choose to do that. I decided to go out into the working world. The first job I had was a door-to-door salesman. One of the hardest jobs to be successful at. It's another job where 90% of people cannot sell. They cannot sell door-to-door. I was one of the people that succeeded. The reason I was able to succeed at trading starts back from my door-to-door sales years. There were a number of lessons I learned from door-to-door sales. First and foremost, I was an independent contractor. So what I made that day was what I made, and it was all based off my efforts. And there were days where I worked 8 to 9 hours, talked to every single door that answered, and I had no money at the end of the day. Starting to notice some kind of resemblance with trading, it is very similar. Further, I had to think positive. When I was walking door to door, no matter how angry, how rude, how many people didn't want to see me that day, I had to keep a positive mindset, because the one thing I didn't want to be was that door-to-door salesman walking down the street with his head down, cursing himself, and going up to the next door expecting a sale. I had to trick my mind every day into the power of belief and positivity, and that led milestones in my career. The reason I became so successful at door-to-door sales is because I had nothing to lose. Here I was, a high school dropout pretty much. I mean, I got a degree, but again, I didn't get into many colleges, and I didn't have a future. And I was put in this position to succeed, and it was either this or nothing. So I gave it my all. I said, I'm going to sit in the corner. I'm going to learn the script. I'm going to be the best. I'm going to really put my all into this and be competitive about it. Again, another trading similarity. Within weeks, I started breaking records for this company. I would not take no for an answer. I knew the script like the back of my mind. I knew how to handle objections. I started to learn how to read people at an extreme level. And that all really helped me level up within the company. I started to learn a lot about work ethic and, again, mindset. There were people in the company that were exceptionally good at door-to-door sales, and then the rest just pretty much were average and or could not make a sale for their life. What I started to do was I started to learn under the salesmen that were the best in the company. I would mimic every single hand gesture, every single tonation in their voice. I would watch them at doors, and I would do an exact replica of what their presentation was. And all of a sudden, the numbers started to roll in. And when we get into the trading aspect, that is exactly what I did when I started trading, when I started learning from Tim Sykes, Tim Grittani, Jack Kellogg, Don Mastromateo. All of these guys became my trading mentors, but I learned how to find a mentor back when I was a door-to-door salesman. When I started copying the best people in the industry, I started to perform. This is where I learned to mimic the best and F the rest. I learned that if they could do it, so could I. Now we're going to fast forward. I did door-to-door sales for 2.5 years. I ended up running the office in Columbus, Ohio. I was making really good money for an 18-year-old right out of high school with a 2.6 GPA. But in that moment, I was running the office, I was running the sales meetings, I was conducting interviews, and I started to see my ceiling, which was base 6 figures. I wanted more. I did not want to be a door-to-door salesman for the rest of my life, and I wanted to go back to college to experience this type of lifestyle that college allows you. I'm not someone that believes in college education. I do believe in the independence that college teaches you, and I wanted to be independent. I wanted to make connections. I wanted to drink. I wanted to party. I wanted to do what college was designed to do. So I hung up my door-to-door sales keys. I drove back home, and I applied to colleges, not with my transcript, but with my resume. I got a couple interviews, and all of a sudden, next thing I knew, that spring, I was at the University of San Francisco as an entrepreneurship major. I signed up to be an entrepreneurship major because, like everyone else, I didn't know why I was going to college. I did not like school. I didn't necessarily want the education, so I chose something that was fairly general, entrepreneurship, right? Something that was on me, like what I produced is what I reaped. And that's always been kind of the person that I have been. So I was an entrepreneurship major for the first 2 years, which put me into the business school. 2 years in, I started searching on Google one day. I actually got invited to Robinhood from a friend. Robinhood is a no-commission trading app. And back then, which was 2015, it was in the beta, meaning you needed to get an invite from someone to even access the brokerage, way before anyone really knew about it. I put $20 in, I invested the $20 within 5 different stocks, and at the end of the day, I made 4 cents. I remember like it was yesterday. I started to ask myself, okay, how much money do I need to make to grow this $20 account? I looked at the best of the best, the Warren Buffett, the billionaires. They do 20 to 30% yearly on average. 20 to 30% on a $20 account is $6. I was never going to get rich investing. So I started to look more into the stock market and I started to find penny stocks. I started to track penny stocks every single day and I started to notice that some penny stocks ran 200-300% in a day. And I thought to myself, wow, if I could learn how to trade that, my $20 account could actually grow exponentially. Through all these Google searches, that's how I eventually landed on a man named Timothy Sykes. I applied for his challenge, I got into his challenge, and that is what started my trading career. I started to study trading tickers like it was my Bible. It was the textbook read that was mandatory for me to understand how to short sell the setups that I wanted to go after. That was, again, a huge moment in my trading. I started to focus, narrow my focus, and focus even more. That is very important. There's so many stocks that you can trade in the stock market. It's one big candy store, and if you eat every single piece of candy, you're going to get a stomach. You have to narrow your focus to that one piece of candy that you actually like, and that was trading tickers for me. The setups that were confined in trading tickers, specifically first red days and overextended gap down. I started to learn really well within this confines. I started to experience $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 days. I started to get rhythm. The next thing that happened is I started to go to in-person boot camps that Tim Sykes would put on. I paid to go to them. I would sit there in class and I would ask every single question. One of the reasons I was successful at door-to-door sales was because I asked good questions. So I made sure that if I had the opportunity to ask someone who knew more than me, questions, no matter how stupid, I would ask them all. And I got all my questions answered at these in-person events from Tim Sykes. A few years into doing these in-person events, eventually Tim Cretani, the guy that created Trading Tickers, was at the event. And I'm not a shy guy. I saw him, I went up to him, I shook his hand, I introduced myself, and I said, "Where are you sitting?" He pointed to the seat, and I said, "Can I sit right next to you?" And he said, "Yes, just don't bug me." And I didn't really want to bug him. I already knew how to trade stocks. I just wanted to see the man himself do it. Over the course of that day, I watched him make $80,000 in front of me and not even crack a smile. Like, it was another day at work, and it was insanely inspiring because we were trading the same stock, just take out a zero from my position, maybe two. It was honestly the most inspiring moment when I saw someone actually make $80,000 in just a couple hours of trading, maybe a 25, 30, 40% gain on one stock in one day. That woke me up to thinking, wow, the future is unlimited. You get what you put in, and this is an insanely lucrative business if you can control the risk and narrow your focus. That moment was the euphoric moment that switched my whole perception and allowed me to grow. At this moment in my career, I had a $25,000 account, a strategy that I found consistent success with, and a mentor to follow. Those were the three ingredients I needed to really start to push the limits of what day trading can really reach. The year was 2017 going into 2018. This is where my trading changed. I started to focus on this one setup, everything that Tim Cretani had taught me in person, and I started to trade very well. In this next 6 months, I was about to graduate college. I had been trading for about a year and a half at this moment, and I started to get worried. I said, if I can't get this done in the next 6 months, if I can't prove profitability, something that I can prove as income, then I'm gonna have to get that 9-to-5 job that I've always been dreading. So I really took it upon myself to take this as professionally as I could. I stopped drinking on the weekdays. I stopped going out on the weekdays. I started to wake up an hour and a half before market open. I'm on the Pacific Coast at this time. That means 5 a.m. wake up times. For 6 months, I grinded my heart out in order to prove to myself that I could create income. The week that I graduated college, I made $20,000 on a stock called LFIN. That 6-month period, I made $100,000. Boom. Proof to concept that I could trade and make an income off of this. I did not have to get that 9-to-5 job. And as I graduated college in 2018, I decided to be a full-time trader. In 2018, the summer, I started to travel the world and live in various places. The Amalfi Coast, London, other parts of Italy. I was trying to travel and trade from anywhere. And at the time, I was living in San Francisco. San Francisco was already on its downtrend. I wanted to get out of that city. So I was just trying new things. I had the ability to trade wherever I wanted, whenever I wanted, and how I wanted. And that freedom was exactly what I was here to ascertain since day one. In 2018, I made somewhere in the ballpark of $100,000 to $150,000. Then I met my second mentor, Roland Wolf. He's more of a best friend and a mentor. He was already a millionaire trader. You see, I went to a conference called the Tim Sykes Conference. I think it was called the Summit. We were both speakers for this Tim Sykes conference. We were both kind of successful. I had made baseline 6 figures. He was already a millionaire. The minute I met him, we immediately kicked it off and I said, "Hey man, I need another mentor. I need somewhere to live. Where are you at?" He said, "I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona. You should come out." And I immediately flew out and we started trading together every day. We don't trade the same setups, but mentality, discussions about the market, that is what helped me advance my my trading. Again, I found another mentor. In 2019, I had a very similar year to 2018. I beat it by just a smidge, another $150,000 year. That is really important because if you're thinking about it, 2018, 2019 were my years of profitability. 2016 and 2017 were my years to learn. And that's very important because prior proper planning prevents pitiful poor performance. What happened in 2020? COVID happened. Something that I could have never expected. You see, success is not just luck or skill. It's a combination of the both. And because I was prepared in 2020, because I knew how to trade, when GameStop, when AMC, when all the stocks that you guys were hearing about for the first time started to have parabolic movements, I already knew how to trade this volatility. This is nothing different than my silly penny stocks going parabolic as well. It's all based off hype, retail, psychology, short sellers getting screwed. I understand that price action, and this was nothing new to me. This was not gambling for me. This was structured betting with controlled risk reward. I knew how to capitalize. I saw the liquidity. I saw the once in a lifetime opportunity, and I started to push sides. Throughout 2020 and 2021, there were many days that my account was all in because the market was so exuberant. I understood the opportunity in front of us. I actually even opened up an E-Trade account because I realized short selling was not actually the move in 2020 and 2021. You have to adapt to the market at times. And in this moment, shorts were not working because every long would go higher and higher and higher. It seemed like anything that was up on the day would gap up the next day. It was not a good environment for short selling. I opened up an E-Trade account at $15,000 at the beginning of 2020. Over the next 2 years, that account grew 6,000% to $600,000. Many days, that account was all in from that $15,000 threshold. That is how I grew my long biased account. But again, it was an exact mirror of what the market was giving us. And so I reacted, I adapted, and I grew that account very well. As we got to February 2021, that is when I crossed the $1 million mark. And that is also when this market started to slow down. And I immediately was able to check myself in that moment because I had 4 years of experience, maybe even 5 at this point. That is the difference between anyone else that was born in the pandemic market. They didn't know how to turn off the faucet, when or why. I could see the writings on the wall. I stopped longing. I started to go back to business as usual. I got back to my bread and butter, the stuff that was making me $150K back in 2018. I got back to short selling, first red days, extended stocks, scams. And those still come up to this day once, twice, 3 or 4 times a month. And that's all I need, 3 to 4 trades a month to make my month. It's the other 90 trades that a trader takes in that month that they don't know what they're doing, that they don't have edge, that they don't understand. Those trades will bleed you dry. I already knew to not allow those in my trading. If there was some kind of chink in my armor, I had to stop the faucet from running. I had to plug the leak, and I knew exactly how to do that. Get back to what made me consistent, get back to my bread and butter. And that is how I protected against the 2021 and 2022 downtrending market. I wasn't the guy that was heralding buy the dip. I never wanted to be a long bias trader. I know I'm not good at it. I am a product of the market environment. I took advantage of the exuberant movements we were seeing. I took advantage of the liquidity. I sized in. I knew it was a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I expanded all of my accounts to a threshold that was unbelievable. I mean, we're talking 6,000% in about a year and a half of trading from 15K. This is exactly how Mike Huddy became a millionaire. I found a mentor. I found focus. I understood risk management. I wasn't gambling. Everything I was doing was with an understanding of the expected value that I would receive from the trade. None of this was random. None of this was luck. The only luck was the environment that the COVID pandemic provided for me. I still had to ascertain the opportunity. I had to be aware, observant, confident in my belief, confident in my ability, and I took that kind of psychology and applied it to the market to really expand my accounts. Now, I trade from anywhere in the world. I live my own schedule. I trade when there's opportunity, and it is the best thing that I could have ever done. I went absolutely viral because all of my trades were verified and posted. You can go back and see all my trades from 2018 through 2021. A lot of people knew my name, Mike Huddy. A lot of people knew my compadres' names, Jack Kellogg, Kyle Williams, Don Master Mateo, Jack Schwarzy. All of us were the new generation traders that really excelled during the pandemic because we got our starts in 2016 and 2017. We had been asked by so many people to teach, to expand upon, to create a community. And that is exactly what we did in 2023. We started clovertrading.io, a place for you to network, to learn about our trades, to learn about psychology, to learn about market dynamics. That is why we started clovertrading.io. If you want to learn more about trading, trading, if you want to learn more about market dynamics, if you want to create a community for yourself like us 5 have done, that is where you want to be. Click the link in the description to learn more about Clover Trading. We have 2 programs available, the 3-leaf Clover and the 4-leaf Clover. The 3-leaf Clover is access to our community, access to our Discord, where you can chat with us, ask us questions, talk about your trades. 4-leaf is a little bit more in-depth education where we do 2 webinars a week, the 5 of us millionaire stock traders, and we talk about our trades, we talk about live trading. In those webinars, you get a full education of whatever charts we handled in the past. You get to really hear us explain an in-depth thought process behind taking the trade and how we maneuvered the risk reward and why we exited or entered at specific places that we did. That is 4-leaf, and that is what you can expect in Clover Trading. Again, one of the keys to my success was going to in-person boot camps and meeting my mentor and seeing it to believe it. We also now provide that kind of opportunity for you. We are doing an in-person boot camp in Boston at the end of August. If you want to be there live with us, talk to us, and get inspired, definitely check it out. It was the key to my success, and it may be the key to yours as well. Smash that like button and follow for more great trading videos.